In this video, we're going to have a look at combining rational expressions by performing addition or subtraction to combine several rational expressions into a single rational expression. Before we go ahead and begin, try this problem out on your own. So what you're being asked to do is to find 3 over x plus 2 plus 2 over 2x plus 4 minus 5 over x plus 3. In order to do this, remember that you're going to have to find the lowest common denominator for these terms. To find a common denominator, you could simply multiply the denominators of the various terms together, but you have to make sure that it's the lowest common denominator if you want the expression to be as simple as possible in the end, so that you don't have to do any further simplification. So for a lowest common denominator, have a look to see if there are any factors that are common in the denominators of the various terms. If there are, then you don't have to multiply all of those together. For example, if you had an x plus 5 and then you had another term that had an x plus 5 in it, there would only be a single factor of x plus 5 in the lowest common denominator, not 2. So you wouldn't have x plus 5 squared, just the x plus 5. So go ahead, try this out, simplify as much as possible, and then we'll take it up once you're done. So let's go ahead and have a look at the solution. We have 3 over x plus 2 plus 2 over, instead of writing 2x plus 4, let me factor out the 2 and write 2 times x plus 2. The reason is we notice that this term has something in common with the first term. So in other words, we have an x plus 2 in the denominator for both of them, minus 5 over x plus 3. So one thing you'll notice is that the 2's cancel in the second term, so in the numerator and the denominator, so that simplifies things a little bit for us. So let's just simplify this and see what we have. We have 3 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 2 minus 5 over x plus 3. Well, first of all, the first two terms have the same denominator, so we can actually add them together. So we have 3 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 2. So altogether we have 4 over x plus 2, and now that's minus 5 over x plus 3. In order to combine these terms, the lowest common denominator is now just x plus 2 times x plus 3. So what we're going to end up with is a lowest common denominator of x plus 2 times x plus 3, and in the numerator we just have to think about what did we multiply each term by to get the appropriate denominator. And whatever we did to the denominator of that term we have to do to the numerator, or we'd be changing the question. Well, to go from 4 over x plus 2 to something over x plus 2, x plus 3, what did we do? How did we go from a denominator of x plus 2 to a denominator of x plus 2 times x plus 3? Well, we multiplied the denominator by x plus 3. But you can't do something to a denominator without doing it to the numerator. So what we're really doing is we're multiplying the first term top and bottom by x plus 3. So you can think of it that way. The new denominator is now x plus 2 times x plus 3, and what we have in the numerator is 4 times x plus 3. And of course, the term is not affected in doing this because we multiplied top and bottom by the same quantity. Now, what about the next term, the negative 5 over x plus 3? Well, again, the denominator went from being x plus 3 to being x plus 2 times x plus 3. So you can think of this as multiplying top and bottom by x plus 2. So in the denominator, we do indeed end up with x plus 2 times x plus 3, whereas in the numerator, we have the negative 5 multiplied by an x plus 2. So what do we have? Well, we can just simplify at this point, so the hard part is done, finding the lowest common denominator and combining the terms, and all that's left is to simplify this as much as we can. So the 4 multiplies in through the x and the 3, and the negative 5 multiplies through the x and the 2, and so what we have in the denominator, we still have x plus 2, x plus 3, and in the numerator we have 4 times x, which is 4x, plus 4 times 3, which is 12, minus 5 times x, and minus 5 times 2, which is negative 10. If we collect like terms in the numerator, so first of all in the denominator we still have x plus 2, x plus 3, and in the numerator 4x minus 5x gives us negative x, and 12 minus 10 gives us negative 2. Now we can actually simplify this particular example a little bit further, because if we factor out a negative sign from the numerator, we'll end up with negative times x plus 2. You can verify that because if you multiply the negative through, you'll end up with negative x minus 2 as we had before. And in the denominator, we still have the x plus 2 and the x plus 3. The reason this helps us is because you can now see that the x plus 2 in the numerator and denominator actually cancel, and all that we end up with at the end is negative 1 over x plus 3. So again, the key steps, what we did is we find a lowest common denominator, and the key is a lowest common denominator. We don't want to have to multiply the x plus 2 times the 2x plus 4 times the x plus 3 because it's going to be a lot more work. It was much better for us to realize that 2x plus 4 was really 2 times x plus 2, and then we saw that our first and second term had something in common, in fact the same denominator, so we could combine those together. Now we ended up with 4 over x plus 2 and negative 5 over x plus 3, so that's where we had to find the common denominator, and we had to multiply by the appropriate numbers in the numerator. So the 4 got multiplied by the x plus 3 and the 5 by the x plus 2, and everything else was just collecting like terms and simplifying as much as possible.